I'm Kevin Abdulrahman. My guest today is His Excellency Marwan bin Jassim Al Sarkal.
So where do we start? Where is the road? Where can we find the road that we can close like 15, 16 kilometers to have that run?
Do you feel that we've become lazier as a...
Lazier? No, I think people have different priorities.
Yeah.
That's why they fail. The shock was when we came back. The first time we met His Highness, I think we almost lost our jobs. We took that extreme level of, just everybody in the system, avoid everybody. And I was like, why is he asking about my free time? And it was like, punishments and raise your hand if you're late.
And the ruler.
What's this? Like a military.
My guest today is considered one of the key leaders when it comes to Sharjah's economic development growth. Born in Dubai, my guest was raised all around the world. He actually did his kindergarten in Tokyo, Japan. He spent his summertime in Mumbai. He traveled all around the world, even was in Brazil when they were doing the World Cup. Unfortunately, Brazil didn't win the World Cup, but there was a game where Brazil won, and my guest got to celebrate it twice, because the referee in that game was Emirati. So he celebrated for Brazil and he celebrated for the United Arab Emirates. He got a high diploma in accounting from Dubai Men's College and then a bachelor's degree in applied sciences, and has never stopped learning by going to executive programs both at Harvard and the University of Singularity. My guest started his career at the ruler's office in Dubai. He then worked with the Sharjah Electricity and Water Authority. After that, he worked with the Dubai Shopping Festival and all its subsidiaries that were all part of the Dubai Economic Department. While doing all that and wearing many hats, he was also the executive producer of a motoring program called Cars, the Arabic equivalent of Top Gear. In 2006, he was invited by Sheikh Badur Al-Qasimi to join and be part of the team that would turn Al-Qasba from an idea and a dream to what would become a lively neighborhood, a destination. From 2009 to 2018, as the CEO, my guest led the Sharjah Investment Development Authority, Shurooq, an entity that was created to invest in infrastructure and also modernize existing infrastructure to create projects and events all through Sharjah. As their CEO, my guest oversaw magnificent projects like the Al Majaz Waterfront, Al Noor Island, the heart of Sharjah, the Kalba Ecotourism, and many joint ventures like Eagle Hills and Sustainable City. Today, he is the executive chairman of the Sharjah Investment and Development Authority, Shurooq. My guest leads a team of over 400 people, overseeing total size of projects worth over 8 billion dirhams. That is across a range of sectors: tourism, mobility, healthcare, logistics, and many more. The man we have here today, my guest, is highly regarded locally, regionally, and globally. He has received many awards, like the Middle East CEO of the Year award. But he's not the kind of man who's driven by recognition or awards. From what I and the many people around here know of him, he's the kind of man that's driven by purpose and the love for the Emirate of Sharjah and the United Arab Emirates. If the Sharjah Investment and Development Authority is, and it is, the driving force that is transforming Sharjah, then my guest today is the driving force that is behind the driving force. I'm delighted that we have the opportunity to spend time with this amazing man in his office in Sharjah at Al-Qasba. I have so many questions. Pay close attention, because what I believe you're going to receive is a masterclass in information and inspiration. This is How Do They Do It? I'm Kevin Abdulrahman. My guest today is His Excellency Marwan bin Jassim Al Sarkal. Thank you for being on the show.
My pleasure.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you for coming all the way to Sharjah.
I appreciate it. I was looking forward to this. Shall we start with Mr. Jones?
Oh, definitely.
Take us back there.
A lot of people wouldn't know that my first place that I went to as kindergarten was not here in the Emirates, it was in Japan,
yes.
Tokyo. My father was a diplomatic. He was heading the UAE consulate or embassy actually in Tokyo, and so we had to travel all the way to Japan and actually go to the kindergarten there. So the most amazing factor is that the whole experience of living in Japan and I'm talking about the early 80s.
Yes.
It's not as it is now, where it is more an international or cosmopolitan. It used to be more a Japanese place, And so we went to an American school at that in those days, and there the way of how the kindergarten in Tokyo is totally different. It was an American system where you would be welcomed by the main instructor, which is Mr. John. He comes and he welcomes every student or every kid that would actually come to the kindergarten with a nice smile. The weather is nice. You have to be nice. You have to be smiling. He would actually give a comment on everyone with a nice way. So the whole experience, sitting in a classroom, not even a classroom, sitting in more like a majlis, where kids would actually sit in a circle. The teacher would come talk to us. We have a special day where we have pets. Rabbits running around, hamsters running around. It's a whole different experience. You'd actually have lunch at the kindergarten, nap there, and then continue your studies, and then your mother or father will pick you up. So the whole experience.
It was like you're living there.
We live half of our time in that school, and then we have visits. So we go visiting different locations, whether they're shops, whether they're retail areas, whether they're farming. So the first plant I planted was actually in Japan, not here.
Wow.
Where they took us to this farming place and they told us, we will give you a seed and you have to plant it and you will water it, and then you will tell us what do you experience. And man with nature is totally different. Man with animals is totally different.
Yes.
And when you educate kids, and when they're really little, like 3 years old, 4 years old, it always lives in their minds that how to preserve, how to respect nature, how to respect animals. And I think, after 20 years, 30 years down the line, you would actually not forget those stories, because they're amazing stories with a different diversity. So we had, from the kindergarten there, we had our friends from different parts of the world. And so it's not only for the Japanese. It was an American school, so you have different nationalities. We got to know a lot of people from different parts of the world. But the nice thing is the way how they treat the kids at those days.
That you remember it.
I do
remember. It's amazing.
I still remember Mr. Jones. He was every day morning waiting for us with a smile. It's a sunny day, Come and enjoy it, and you wouldn't be sad going that day.
Of course not.
And the shock was when we came back, and that's the shock. When we came back, we went to a school here in Sharjah, and it was like, it's about discipline. It's about sitting in a classroom. Every two would actually sit on a desk. You would not move from that desk because you'll be in that classroom for the entire day. And imagine you have those breaks that you would actually break out and then come back, but it's so strict. So I couldn't adapt. I think for like 3 months I couldn't accept not moving around like what we used to have, not having a nap, not enjoying activities.
Yes.
So it was a huge transformation for what we experienced in Tokyo and what then we experienced in Sharjah. Today I think the education system is totally different. It's recently been revamped. Kindergartens are totally more active. I see my little Muhammad,
yes,
2 years old, more excited. There are a lot of activities here in a kindergarten called Basatin here in Sharjah, where they have more activities out of the campus and within the campus. So we have taken the education to a different level.
Yes.
After like 20 years, and I think this is something that I'm so happy about, that the thing that I saw in the 80s is now implemented here in the Emirates, and especially in Sharjah.
That's beautiful, man, and really clearly made an impact in you, because we forget a lot of things in our lives, but the fact that you can remember something when you were 3 must have really impacted your heart and your mind.
So it's the plants, it's the animals, but it's about even staying in a classroom where you're actually open to actually have a nap, enjoying it. And you know what? My mother was teaching us Arabic at home, because they wouldn't have any teachers that would teach Arabic, and I was sitting with my brother Khalid. He's like 2 years elder than I am, and she would teach him, and I would actually get to know what she's telling him, And when I went to the test here in Sharjah, they would tell us the ABC in Arabic, Alif Ba Ta, and I got them all right. And the teacher said here that he's unusual, because at that age you wouldn't actually find kids would actually memorize it. So I think he's over his age. He has to be in a different class. And that was, and the nice thing is that we're so close, me and my brother Khalid, when it comes to education. And I thought it had a great impact, because when you love something that you do, you get to perfect it.
Yes.
And since my childhood, I believe that I had this great opportunity that I had my brother with me, and it had a huge impact on me till today, I would say.
And as he was learning, you were just learning by default
Exactly.
of being
I was
there.
so close.
Yeah.
Instead of playing around, being with my brother, and it was easier for my mother because we're a family of 7, and the first 2 are close to each other, so it makes life much easier.
That's fantastic.
I still remember when we were in Japan, my grandmother used to send us, Majid magazines.
The Captain Majid thing?
No, the Majid magazine from Abu Dhabi here.
Okay.
So they still produce it now. They revive it recently, and I'm so happy that my sister Maryam is actually handling it nowadays. In the old days when we were in Japan, and I'm talking about 1981, 82, we used to get the Majid magazine. It's the only magazine we would have fun stories like comics and
right.
And recently in Abu Dhabi government or Abu Dhabi media decided to revive it totally. So it has childhood stories,
yes.
and guess what? My sister is actually handling it. So it's a very nice story
nice
to see that how we were connected with UAE by Majid. And we were connected through Iftah Ya Simsim, which is the equivalent of Sesame Streets. And so Japan was yet so far from the UAE. We were traveling. I remember those days when we used to travel from Dubai by Lufthansa.
That's right.
Going to somewhere in Europe, somewhere in the east, and then going to Tokyo. And it was the only flight that would take us to Tokyo. Today, we have like every day couple of airports to Tokyo. So
direct.
An ambassador in Tokyo today is not as tough as it used to be in the 80s.
Yes.
But we had a good time. We always had this connection between UAE flag and Japan flag because of the embassy thing. And till today, I feel that there is something about Japan that is in my heart. The love of their perfection, the discipline, the openness, and being so perfect in what to do. And I think this is something that is within my DNA that I feel it is affecting my life in a very positive way.
Get inspired. Whether you're in Dubai for business or pleasure, the last thing you want to do is blow your budget on accommodation, which is why I recommend you check out our host venue partners, Rove Hotels. Beyond being price sensitive, what I love about Rove Hotels is the fact that they are a combination of cafe, culture, and just coolness. Even my guests, many of them, when they arrive before we record or after we finish recording the podcast, they actually comment. They go, wow, this place is cool. The vibe is amazing. And it is amazing. So if you're in Dubai for business or pleasure, I recommend you check out our host venue partners, Rove Hotels. That's fantastic. And as a young person, you got to travel to quite a few places.
Yes.
So what was the next thing out of Japan?
I traveled to a lot of areas around the globe. I would say my father has been taking us with him to different areas. So we've been to Mumbai, and Mumbai is not as Mumbai today. Mumbai today is the cosmopolitan. Nobody doesn't want to go to Mumbai. It's this vibrant city. In those days when we went to Mumbai, Coke was not even sold. There was like Thumbs Up, and Sprite was called Sprint.
That's right.
And everything was local produced, and we had to import everything. Like Kellogg's was important. So we were living in a nice area. I don't remember the area, but India for us was like so cool. It's so different than the UAE.
Yeah.
Even the cars. I'm a car fan since my childhood.
Yes.
I used to have this whole city that I would create at home and have those cars. And when in India you go, there were only like 3 different types of cars, like the Ambassador, I remember.
Yes.
And the other one, the little one, and the Maruti, I guess. And for us, we used to have Mercedes and Lotus. And I was like, Mercedes is like super cool to be in India, and a Lotus. But when you see 20 years down the line how India have revolved is magnificent.
Absolutely.
We had amazing times in Mumbai. Street food was something exceptional. The souks, the old souks, and we have the tie between UAE and India is very much, the trade goes back to centuries,
yes.
And so we don't feel that we're far away from home.
But it was novel enough. It was different.
It was different. It was definitely different. Then we've been with my father to Brasilia, And Brasilia, I'm telling you, it was so tough to travel to Brasilia. Nowadays, it's one flight to Sao Paulo.
You're talking about 80s and 90s when it was completely different, right?
In the 90s, I was like 98. We've been to Brasilia. We had to stop over to Gatwick, and from Gatwick to Rio, and from Rio to Sao Paulo, and Sao Paulo to Brasilia. That's like 31 hours of flight. And at the end, you go to a place. It's nice. People were so nice, but it's totally different. You're in a different universe. The thing that will connect everyone was football, and at that time we were so lucky. It was the '98
World Cup
that they lost, unfortunately. But we were so excited that Brazil was doing good. They were winning, and one of those matches, I think they were playing against Denmark, and the referee was an Emirati, Ali Bujsain, the best referee at that time in Asia.
Yes.
He went to France to be the referee, and he was the referee of that match. So we were hoping that the Brazilians would win, because nobody would actually blame the referee, because the first guy that the people would blame,
it's always they point the finger at the referee, right?
And they won. So we celebrated in a place called Gilberto de Salomon, and they were celebrating their win. I was celebrating their win, and plus an Emirati referee. So
a double win.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a very nice. I drove on those Brazilian roads. At that time, I used to have a driving license, so I used to take my father's Mercedes, driving around Brasilia, not knowing how to speak. So I had one lesson to know. You're driving the ambassador car. You have the right not to stop to anyone. You just continue. Even if someone tries to stop you, you are a CND car, so you can drive.
Keep
so
driving.
I didn't have any issues, and I had a S600, so it was super fast, so nobody can actually follow me. But within my life, I've traveled all around Asia, Europe, Africa. China by itself is a different nation, anyways. America. I studied as I said, in Japan, but my schooling from grade 1 to grade 6 was in Sharjah. Then from grade 7 to grade 11, I was in Dubai, Rashid School in Dubai, where it's a super fantastic school. Yes. It's like 12 students in each class.
Wow, that's
2
fantastic.
Instructors, high end. So we had Sheikh Crown Prince of Dubai, Sheikh Hamdan Muhammad was with us in the school. Late Sheikh Rashid was with us. Sheikh Saeed bin Maktoum Al Maktoum was with us in that school. So it was a different lifestyle. So it was very, very similar to Japan, that you move from one class to another class. It was not in one classroom. We had a laboratory, we had a nice library, we had art areas. So we have a huge sports facility, which I thought that is one of the best schools within the United Arab Emirates at that time. Studied my higher education, or my diploma was from the Higher College of Technology in Dubai. I was enrolled in '96. Graduated in '99. I skipped a couple of years because of I was good in English, I was good in math, so I skipped one whole year. And I skipped GCSE. I did my GCSE, so I skipped my 12th year. So I saved like 2 years. Graduated from Higher College of Technology with a high diploma, which is an equivalent to a bachelor's degree in accounting, from Dubai Men's College. Went to work in ruler's office in Dubai as a short term. Then my first job was actually in the Sharjah Electricity and Water Authority, where I was head of the auditing department. So I started as an auditor, then I became the head of auditing.
And at all this stage, you're actually quite young.
Yes. I like to challenge myself. Yeah. So I love to dedicate time to perfect things, because I think whoever seeks perfection would one day reach perfection.
Yes.
And I was admiring the automotive industry. So I was admiring what new companies would actually do. Like companies like Hyundai would compete with the Toyotas, and companies like would go bust because they couldn't reintroduce new products. Like Mercury, for example, from America, or a lot of UK brands went out of business because they never knew what their customer wanted, And I always had this philosophy: is how Toyota managed to become the best global leader when they were new to the market compared to Ford, GM, and all of those companies, or Mercedes.
And can I ask you, was this because of do you think it had to do with your Japanese?
I'm not really sure. I think there is a link about perfection, about quality, about doing things right, about enjoying what you do, loving what you do, perfecting what you do,
Yes.
but investing in yourself before anything.
Yes.
You know, you can't expect to be good, but without practicing. And I always use this example. You know, if you want to be a great football player, you have to train really well. You know, if you want to be a great athlete, you have to train really well. You can't expect that your talent will make you a champion. Your
Yes.
talent is a good start.
Yes.
But then you need to work on yourself. You need to train yourself. If you want to celebrate something, you have to perfect it. And
Yes.
if you perfect it and you don't know anything about it, you need to educate yourself, and you need to keep on training yourself till the mindset becomes that you are good in it.
Yes.
Then you're going to succeed. You know, Beckham was not Beckham because he was talented. Yes, he's talented, but he was training 6 hours every day.
That's true. Exactly. And a lot of people, they don't know that. Like, he made it a thing. He was first one in, last one out.
You know, sometimes you would stand on a podium and would say, man, that guy was magnificent. He was training. He didn't. He was not good because he's good. He was practicing it.
Yeah.
And even a bad guy would actually be good after training.
Yes.
You need to have that talent. I remember, you know, one of those trips, I used to travel with car agencies, car companies, you know, test driving cars. You know. And one of those trips, we went to a club called Holland and Holland,
Okay.
the shooting club in not London, out of London, in Britain.
Holland
you know.
and Holland.
No. Holland and Holland
Okay.
is the group.
The name, yeah.
It's a very well-known company, Holland and Holland, and they have this pigeon shooting. You know, the
Okay.
clay pigeon. And at that time, that was in 2006, I think.
Yeah.
When was Athens Olympics? 2006 or 2000?
My memory. 4?
Before maybe 2004 maybe.
2004, because Beijing was 2008.
Yes, so that was the pressure. You know, Ahmed bin Hasher
Mhm.
Al Maktoum, he won the gold medal for the shooting.
Mm.
I used to go to shooting clubs, but I'm not a professional. I'm not even an amateur. I'm just a beginner. And we went with Bentley, and they wanted to show us the lifestyle of a Bentley owner.
Right.
And you know, it was a dream for me to own a Bentley. And now I'm driving a Bentley, and now Bentley Arnage in 2004, fantastic. Going in the countryside of London, then going to this club, and now we have a pigeon clay shooting. And they
No
were
pressure.
like, no pressure at all, you're an Emirati, the world champion is an Emirati. You have 8 shots, and 6 are going to be counted, so you can lose 2.
Ah, okay.
Let's hope we hit 1 at least, you know. We're all beginners, I would say. Nobody is professional in that area, you know, but I was the youngest, you
Yes.
know. 2004, I was
24, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
too young to be talented in that field. So we started shooting. I missed the first one, and I scored and scored and scored and scored and scored. So I got 6 out of 6.
Wow.
And more pressure because we have 2 rounds. One, which is a clay shooting pigeon, is flying from here to here like
Right.
this, and the other one was right to left, or
Right.
left to right. And I got 6 out of 6 in both.
Wow.
So I missed 2, but you know, it's 6 that counts. And I got the prize from them. They said, no, it's not a coincidence. You know, Ahmed bin Hasher won the gold medal. An Emirati will always win a gold medal. And
Yeah,
it was-
they
it
said
was-
that when they saw the results. Yeah.
After, you know, I was like, wow, how I was not even imagining that I'm going to score 3 out of 6.
Yes.
Imagine 6 out of 6 and 6 out of 6. It was fascinating.
Is that because you perform under pressure? Like when you look back now, when you look at your personality, because
No, I loved shooting.
okay,
I always loved it, but I have an issue with my eyes. In 2000, one of those years, I was on a quad bike and I was hit by a car.
oh,
And I happened to notice that I have a double vision in some areas.
okay,
So so if I focus, if I'm tired, I have a double vision. So I can see two of you.
yes, that's a scary thought. Yeah,
So and this is a different area. So in this area, I see a double vision. Here I see a double vision. Here I see a double vision. You know?
Uh-huh.
So I have an issue with my eyes. So I would never perfect any shooting. So shooting is not good for me.
yes,
So I did an operation. We tried
Fixed
to
it.
no, not really fix it, but try to get it closer. It's even more confusing now. So, but in shooting, you close one eye anyway.
Sure.
Yeah. So shooting was never something for me after that incident. But I happen to be talented in it.
get inspired. One of the questions that I get frequently asked is, Kev, how can I increase my motivation? We see great individuals, we see achievers, like many of the guests that I'm bringing on the show. They have the energy, they do so much, they're in a state of flow. How do they do it? Well, my team and I have released an article which I've made available on kevinabdulrahman.org/blog, the ultimate biohacking guide to increasing motivation. Or you can simply Google Kevin Increase Motivation and the article should pop up right at the top. It's absolutely free. Read it, and most important of all, take the bits and pieces that are relevant to you and apply it into your life to increase your motivation. I hope you find the article of value. If you do, feel free to leave your comments and also share it with your circle of friends. Again, you can Google it, Kevin Increase Motivation. It will be the first link that pops up, or on my website, kevinabdulrahman.org/blog.
And sometimes, when you have a talent and then I can't be a world champion
Sure.
because, you have to even perfect it. But I think the dedication that you put, the love for what you do,
Yes, 100%.
is what makes. And if you want to be successful, and I said if you want to be successful,
Yes.
you are going to be successful.
Yes. Because it's that choice that you have to make, saying, I want to be successful, I'm willing to do this. Like you said, 7 years
And
of
then
focus.
you invest in yourself. It's like you're a company of yourself,
Yes, that's true.
And everybody thinks about positions.
But before you're running a company, you have to run you.
You have to run your
Yes,
position,
that's true.
If everybody is granted to become the CEO of his own self. Yeah. Whether you want to put a marketing plan for yourself, or an education plan for yourself, or a fitness program for yourself, or a health program for yourself, that's your body, that's your company.
Yes.
Manage it properly. Sleep well, eat well, train yourself, educate yourself. That's the company that you would like to be known as.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they dismiss it. They will not wear properly, they will not eat properly, they will not go to the fitness. I changed my whole lifestyle program maybe in the last 8 years.
Okay.
And I remember, things about fail. It's fine to fail at the beginning, but it's fine to accept that these are the things that made me fail.
Yes.
And this is what I need to work. You need to know what are the weaknesses about yourself. We always talk about SWOT analysis in companies, but do we have a SWOT analysis about ourselves? Do we know what our strengths and weaknesses are, and to develop it? Do we know what are the threats that we're going to have in the future? If we do it as we do it in our work environment up to ourselves, we're going to be better human beings.
Sure.
And I believe working with Sharjah Electricity and Water Authority, I was like, when I went to the interview, I was like meeting the director there. He said to me, "Are you here for a job?" I said, "Yeah, I want to do a change. I don't want to do what's the daily job." He said, "I will do a deal with you. If you don't enjoy it, just leave the office. Don't come." Because I was not really encouraged, auditing, I will be reviewing numbers. So I entered that work field.
But you went with the mindset of, I want to make a change.
Yeah, I want to do something different. Rather than change, I want to do something different. And different is change. Different is doing things in a different way, maybe faster, maybe more efficient, maybe different presentations. So I worked in that environment, and it was more about discipline. Government entities at that time was about coming on time, leaving on time, coming on time, leaving fine on time. Do your job, and that's good enough. But doing things different, doing things more efficient, working in a teamwork was not really something that was, I would say, in the late 90s. Because I started and actually celebrated a couple of days ago 20 years of working in the government field.
Wow.
So I started on 23rd of October 1999.
Wow.
So recently I just posted that 20 years I'm still serving the government, and I'm still under 40. So the exciting thing is that I went to the Sharjah Electricity and Water Authority. I managed to do a lot of things. In one of those monthly salary audit, I am a financial controller. So I check the finance before it is released. So it's not like an auditor which will check after 6 months. So I used to check salaries for like 4,000 staff on a monthly basis, and usually my colleague used to do those reporting in 3 days. So I created a different mechanism within that entity that I can do it in 1 day.
Interesting.
What happened is that my colleague used to, and he was a veteran. He's the guy that he knows how to do it. So I started taking that file, and he said, "I'm going to check on you." So the first time I was doing it, I took 2 days, so 1 day less than he did.
Yes.
My aim was always, how can we be more efficient? So I created another system. Within our system, to improve efficiency.
Interesting.
How can we improve it? I don't like to waste time doing repetitive work, you know. And we're talking about today. We're talking about AI and robotics taking over.
But this is before
and
this.
that's what we're talking about the 90s. So in 2000, 2001, I started to reach the level that I take a report at 8 in the morning. I deliver it by 1 p.m. before our prayers. And my director used to say, Marwan, I don't think you're doing anything. You're just signing. Is it? You know, I can give you the proof, but you have to celebrate success rather than thinking that I'm not doing it. You know, and
Well
this is
said.
the mindset of people. You need to encourage employees at the beginning that give them the chance. I would say a new employee is more like a candle. You have to hold him to create a fire. You know, you can't just blow the air. You'll kill that spirit that's within an employee that has just joined. And I'm talking 2 years, 2 years down the line. So I reached to the level that I said, you know what, I can't change a lot of things. Whatever I can do is to improve the system. After leaving Sharjah Electricity and Water Authority, I joined Dubai Shopping Festival, and it was a different challenge. It was like from financial control to finance manager, from finance manager to director of finance and administration. So when I reached to the shopping festival, I remember meeting Mr. Hussein Luta, and he used to be the executive chairman of Dubai Shopping Festival, and he said to me, when he was asking me, what do you do, what do you like doing, what do you do in your free time? Then I was like, why is he asking about my free time? And he was like, what do you do after leaving home, after having lunch, who do you hang out with? But he was so smart because he wanted to know what sort of an employee he's going to have.
He was looking for the character, not just the
So it was
resume.
It was a lesson that today I learned. You know, I learned that after that actually is how important it is to have the right people. It's not who is more qualified, but who has the right set that you would like to think that he has the right DNA, that he fits your organization.
That's right.
So after that interview, I said to him, I'm going to think about it and I'm going to get back to you. He said, I want you to live the Dubai Shopping Festival. I want you to breathe the Dubai Shopping Festival. And I was at that time trying to be funny, so I said, it's like Coca-Cola's ad, you know, live Coca-Cola, eat Coca-Cola, enjoy Coca-Cola. You know, that was the ad at that era.
That's right, yeah, I remember that.
Are you kidding? I said, I thought that was the ad of Coca-Cola. He said, yeah, I wanted you to live the experience of Dubai Shopping Festival. And for me, it was a challenge, you know, moving from Sharjah to Dubai. And I like to take challenges. I am bored when it's repetitive, when it's boring, when it's not doing anything different. So for me, at that time, I had in mind, every 3 or 4 years, I need to move to experience different things and different sectors. I don't have to be in that sector. We are human beings. If you're an accountant, you can be an artist. If you're an artist, you can be a football player. If you are a football, if you want to be who you want to be, you can be. Nobody was born to be a policeman. Nobody was born to be a fireman. But you train yourself to be a policeman and you educate yourself. And today with education, with technology, you can be an expert, you know.
Yeah.
A funny story, talking about education, you know. My mother was recently admitted to a hospital and they were telling us sodium level is low, high, and this is what you need to do. So I went to investigate. What's the sodium level? Why is it affecting her life? And why is she not as she used to be? So I went to my secretary, which is the Google of today, checked out what is this about it, and I got a whole report of Mayo Clinic, 16 pages. I read the whole thing. Then I sat with the doctor and I chatted with him and I was giving him facts and figures based on Mayo Clinic. He didn't know. He said, are you a doctor? I said, no. I said, no, I'm not. He said, I'm sure you're a doctor. And I was giving him examples of what he should do and what she should not do as a low sodium level. And I happened to be, I was so expert in that field that the doctor thought that I was actually a real expert and a doctor, but trying not to tell him that. And he thought that I'm trying to be humble, that I'm not a doctor. But the message that if you want to be an expert, just read about it. Everything is available today on the internet. I was, you know, once sitting in a youth council, telling them how much information we have in our devices today, that even Carter, when he was the president of the United States, didn't have that information with all of his team that was with him. So let's make use of what we have within our handheld. So after the Dubai Shopping Festival experience, you know, I with my team flipped around the whole Dubai Shopping Festival experience from a financial point of view. So we made it a financial success for the Dubai Financial, for the Dubai Shopping Festival.
So it wasn't just an event; it became actually a
Financially, it was
financially
it had
viable.
a huge impact. We had a very strong team that's working Dubai Shopping Festival. Everyone was wearing more than one hat. So in that area, I'm so passionate about the motor industry. I had an opportunity that a company called Bagheera came to us and they said, we want to break the world record for trucks. Like, break world record for trucks? What do you mean? You know those trucks that are racing?
Yes.
And they were like,
did they come to you because they knew you were passionate about cars, or random?
They came to Dubai Shopping Festival.
Okay.
And Saeed Nabuda, the CEO at that time, said to me, Marwan, you are into cars. This is your file. I was like, I'm a finance manager. What do I have to do with events? He said, no, Dubai Shopping Festival, you don't wear one hat, you wear multiple hats. I said, okay. So what do we need to do? So I met the guys. Okay, and they were from a company called Bagheera. So they have a motor racing team. So they have this trucks racing. Anyways, they don't look nice, but they're trucks racing, you know, and it's racing. It's for me, Formula One rally is nice, but trucks racing. Anyways, ours was to break the record. So what's the record? 172 kilometers. Okay, what would you like to break? 300 kilometers. Are you guys serious? 300 kilometers?
Speed.
In speed with a truck.
Wow.
Not with the whole thing, but with the truck, you know, the first part of it. Like, are you sure? So what do we need to do? We need to close a road, and we need to create a show, and we're going to do a press conference, and we need to get a driver. And who's going to do it? You. I'm going to do it. I'm going to talk.
I'm a finance guy.
Yeah, I'm a finance guy. I have nothing to do with events. No, you're going to do it, and the guys are going to support you. So where do we start? Where is the road? Where can we find the road that we can close like 15, 16 kilometers to have that run? Who would close the road? You know, it's Dubai. It's not like somewhere in the desert. You know, you can close the road in some of the valleys. You know, in the States. It's Dubai. You know, Dubai has busy roads. So we happened to find a road, which is today called the Emirates Road.
No
611.
way. Okay.
At that time, it was not connected. So we found out that road, it was not connected to anywhere.
On the 611.
It was at that time 2-lane road.
Yes.
Next to the club, one of the clubs there, I think Hatta Club. Not Hatta, sorry, Al Awir Club. At that time, it was called Al Awir Club. Now it's called Dubai Club.
Mm-hmm.
So this road was not connecting any Emirates. So it was Dubai only. And it was a 2-lane road, unbusy. Nobody was driving that road. And we sent a letter to Dubai. How can I send a letter to Dubai police? At that time, the chief commander was Dahi Khalfan, you know. Who am I to send him a letter? And he said, one of my colleagues, his name is Ibrahim Abdulrahman, he said, you take this number and call this guy, and he would actually
He'll fix it for you.
So we managed to close the road. Then we did a show in Al Muraqabat Street to just emphasize on that event. Then they told us there is a press conference. Who's going to be in the press? You're going to speak to the press. I'm a finance guy. I don't even have a media training, you know. And suddenly I was sitting there talking about breaking the record. I have no clue about that record. Convincing Mohammed bin Sulaim, our Emirati Middle East champion in rally, 16 championships in the world rally. He's far from this racing, but anyways, he's a champion. So he would be driving one of those trucks, and we're going to break the record in one of those days. So we closed the road.
Wow.
Did the sprint. We achieved 270 plus.
Wow.
We couldn't achieve 300, but anyways, it's 100 kilometers more than the previous world record.
Yes.
And they told me, let's do a trial. So I sit in the truck, and man,
you drove one?
No, I sat on the passenger. Okay. And we were, you know, it's so high, and you're like a wall that is traveling because it has no aerodynamics in any sort of an aerodynamics meaning. But it was an experience,
wow,
mind blowing.
At 270,
270 kilometers. It was fascinating. And so the story that I want to say is that no matter what your field is, if you dedicate time and commitment, you're going to achieve it. And from a finance guy to an events manager to a media guy to an organizer,
to sitting in a truck at 270.
Exactly, and just doing something that you might not be passionate at that before that, but at that moment you would be the happiest guy on earth.
You know what strikes me is a couple of things. You're willingly wanting to go out of your comfort zone, where it's natural to just go, it's comfortable, but you're willingly willing to step out.
And I would tell you, you know, people would say, you know, you're a challenger, you like to do it. I would tell you the first thing, it's not easy, it's not comfortable at the first. You know, humans are created, you know, to be in their comfort zones. If you challenge yourself to be out of that zone and to go out of that box, you transform yourself.
Yes.
So you become multi-talented. You get to know new people. You get to experience new things, and you become global in your thoughts. You become global in the way of how you take things and listen to things. And I think this is something that transformed me within those 40 years or 39 years. Is accepting to learn, accepting to take challenge, accepting to do things that will transform you. So Shopping Festival was a magnificent experience. In 2006, I happened to meet Sheikha Badur, a talented lady. I had no clue who she was, other than she was the daughter of His Highness, the ruler of Sharjah. And she has this magnificent vision about transforming Sharjah, changing the way of how things are, improving the status. And she has the support of His Highness, the big boss, Sheikh Sultan, the ruler of Sharjah. And she came, so I happened to meet her in Al Qasbah here, in this place. This place was apparently at that time a place where all of the NGOs, the non-government organizations, were here. There was the big wheel, the Eye of the Emirates. It was about to be done with a circus that was not a permanent, more like a temporary circus. But the place was not busy, was not revived. And so I sat with Sheikh Abdul, and she said to me, "What do you think about this place?" And nobody can say it's not fantastic. It's a beautiful place. It connects two lagoons, has a water channel. It's so nice. And the beautiful architecture in those buildings. But people are not coming. There are not many restaurants. There are not many cafes. There are not many events.
It wasn't like a destination.
It was not really a destination.
Yeah.
It was an idea to transform this destination. So there was a company that's actually managing it called Thomas Klein. So Sheikh Abdul said, "Would you like to join the group?" I said, "Okay, I can join the team as an advisor. I keep my job in Dubai," because I was doing another thing other than the Shopping Festival. I was doing my motoring program with Dubai TV.
That's right.
I used to be an executive producer. We have that program that is like the equivalent of Top Gear.
Yes.
We, in our nature, we don't like to say this car is better than that car in our media.
Yes.
So I had this courage to take a Nissan Patrol and a Land Cruiser and say this is better than this.
You were willing to do it.
I was loving to do it because a consumer would love to hear that.
Yes.
The fans would love to hear that. The agents would not love to hear that the Nissan is better than a cruiser, And I had the guts to do that, and I had the guts to go to Dubai TV and tell them, let's do a better motoring program because the one you have is bad and it's not good, and I had the will to support you. And on that day I said I had the will to support you. They said to me, do a pilot, and I was like, what's a pilot? And they said a pilot is like, let's shoot. Shoot what? Let's shoot. Let's do a pilot. Show us what do you have in mind. Okay, I can support you guys. And then the guy said, what do you mean support you? You're going to do it. I sure. I am not.
I thought I was going to give you the idea.
Exactly. Yeah. And I was like, I did a presentation. No. You're going to present it. You have the passion. I have the passion. I don't have the passion to be in front of people on their TV screens and looking at me. Who's Marwan? Marwan is the finance guy in Dubai Shopping Festival. What is he doing to do with cars? And I was passionate. I was like reading 6, 7, 8 magazines maybe a month. I knew in and out about cars. And my sister was walking around. Her name is Mariam. She was my little sister, and she was like, Mariam is a director in Dubai TV.
Yes.
I mean, a TV director. And Hussein Luta said, Mariam is going to be the director of that program, and you're going to be the producer, executive producer, and presenter. Are you sure? What about my job? You're going to keep your job, don't worry. You're
wearing many hats.
Yeah, multiple hats. This philosophy. So we did that test. I was a bit nervous, It's Dubai TV. It's not like any other TV. It's not like those TVs in the media cities. It's like a proper Dubai TV, government TV. It's whatever is going to go there. It's going to be the Dubai TV.
And so this is no experience.
No, zero experience. So no experience at all. But the passion was there. The talent was there. The information was there. Everything was there. Other than we need fine tuning. So we did that program. And then I asked one of my friends, are you passionate about TV? And his name is Ahmed Jafar Al-Hashimi. And he was like, yes, what do you have in mind? I said, we do a different program. We go out of the norms. We get cars. Let's agree what we are going to say. We agree on this and that. And we're going to do more like a guy's program. We became the most valuable program done by Emiratis to the level that it became the second best program with a local content, Emirati content. I did 52 episodes within the 3 years that I was there. It was rerun 3 times after the first time. So each week you would find me on the screen 4 times rather than 1 time. It went all the way to Etihad Airways. People were believing in what we're saying, that we're biased. We're saying the truth. We're not trying to make Porsche happy or Lamborghini happy. We're trying to go to the lowest tier of the market with the Nissan Sunny and the Corolla, and the SUV guys with the Nissan Petrol and the Land Cruiser, and the super luxury, exotic cars, La Ferrari. At that time, La Ferrari against the Carrera GT.
Yeah.
And it was like super fantastic, to the level in some cases we called company and they wouldn't give us their cars
because you were real.
They had the fear. And then I got the call from the regional office saying, how come cars is not cars, because that was the name of the program, how come cars is not covering our cars? I said, like, your guys are not willing to give us? No, where the regional office are going.
Calling
So I used to travel around the globe testing cars. We created content that nobody can compete it with.
Wow.
So in every place I wanted to work or I was working in, I always kept in mind that it had to be the best. It can't be a second. It has to be the best program. It had to be the best organization. It has to be the best system that we're creating. And being the best, that mindset, you build it within your team.
Yes.
Evolves everything. So you can't say, we want to do one of the best programs. We have to, the best program in the Arab world, the best local content, the best information. So my program was, we were doing a program, and I call it my, because I love to say it's my thing. It's yes, it's ours, all of us together. But when you say it's mine, then you feel you don't want to lose in any field.
It's your ownership.
So I did interviews with Ferraris, with Maseratis, with Lamborghini. I knew everyone in the automotive industry, to the level that they were seeing me too young, in that industry. But they had a lot of I would say respect to the content that they come. So you name it. I've been to the factory of Bentley, I've been to the factory of Lamborghini, and you know what, in those factories, people would expect that I interview the CEO. I was interviewing the guy that is actually matching the wood, or the lady that was stitching the leather.
Nice.
In a Bentley factory. And this experience, nobody will give it to you. They will tell you this car has that horsepower, that torque.
Yes, exactly.
Nice. But the factory visit, okay, factory, they will do it with the head. No, I will not do it with it. I will do this guy. How many generations you've been here? How many generations within your family have been working with Bentley? How did you do the wood matching? That every Bentley, for example, had one plank of wood rather than different types of wood from around the globe. This is the level of value that you want to add, and this is what made it so special. So after that, Dubai Shopping Festival, Dubai Economic Department, Cars program with Dubai TV, coming to Al Qasba, different challenge, totally different. Real estate, talking to restaurants, trying to lease out locations, do events.
And when you had you were doing so well with the Dubai Shopping Festival, and you had your Cars program, what was the thing that made you go, yes, I'm gonna jump in and be part of this?
So 2006 was a transformation year for me. I got married in 2006.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So it was like 12 years ago or more now. And transformation for me, because I like challenges. I said, Dubai TV for me, I said, we reached to the level. Dubai Shopping Festival, we did what I wanted to do. Qasba, I always believe that we can make it. We had the Sheikh Abudur support, backup. She had the vision, she had the strength. She can do things. And Sharjah is my place. I'm from Sharjah. I want to do something about Sharjah. But the challenge was not easy. I can't say the path was clear, because the path is never clear. You drive on a road and you don't know. Maybe there's an accident one day on the road. There's someone that's crossing. Nobody will tell you that a camel will cross the street. There are many obstacles that you need to adapt to it.
And the reality, I think, is when she shared with you the vision, there was no path. So you would have had to actually create it.
Exactly. And the vision was to transform this area, to become a popular area, cultural area with events, with activities. But we need restaurants. And the biggest challenge was, when we used to talk to tenants here, restaurants and coffee shops, come and open, and they will tell us, but you don't have people. Okay, we have to get people. So what did we do?
How do you get people when you don't have restaurants?
Yeah, exactly. So when people would come here, they wouldn't find restaurants. So how we can create this balance? What would come before what? So I said, let's start by doing events as much as possible and getting food carts rather than restaurants, because nobody will invest on a restaurant if there's no footfall.
Sure.
So we start by event after event after event after event. So in Masrah Al Qasba, which is our indoor theater, we did a lot of events. Then on the walkways here, we did a lot of events. Then I said, you know what, we need to revamp the landscaping. And I had no clue about landscaping. I had no clue what type of landscape we need to do. But I knew that the place was so wide that we need to narrow it. And with landscaping, you can do it.
And was this an inspiration from your travels? Like, where did you get this vision from?
Well, I think traveling around the globe. I've been, as I said, to many cities around the globe, but it's how you see it. You know, you can see a lot of things, but you'd not value it unless you read about it.
Yes.
Because the brain is so smart that when you think of buying, let's say, a Land Cruiser, you'd find a lot of Land Cruisers around you.
Yes.
There was always that many Land Cruisers, but now your mind clicks to the thing that you like.
Focus. Yes.
So now I had in mind that I need to do something about landscaping. So everything that I looked at that time was all about landscaping. What type of trees, what type of hardscape are we going to use, and how can we do it? And I used to meet a lot of people, and for me, every single person you meet is an asset. Whether he's a security, cleaner, an expert, a consultant, an architect, a designer, everyone has an idea, has a thought about it. So we came up with this challenge is, if we want to revive this place, we have to do something about it. So we created a whole revamp of Al Qasba. And I met a couple of guys, and they said, you know, it used to be called Qanat Al Qasba. It was so confusing. Qana in Arabic is a channel, so it can be a TV channel, it can be a water channel. So difficult. And so we said, and then I met a lot of branding agencies. At that time, I was talking to you about 2006.
Yes.
Nobody knew what is branding.
Yes. You know, not as popular when it is today.
Now today, everybody, branding agency, images, slogan. At that time, 2006, what is branding? The only company that used to have proper branding was Emirates Airline. With all due respect to all companies, at that time, branding was not something big. So I met this. Well, we did a pitching. They call it a pitching, where you get different agencies and they tell you about branding. They tell you about how do they rebrand Al Qasba.
Yes.
So we met one of those guys, and he was telling us the story about how branding is important for companies like Nike, like Adidas, like Emirates Airline. And I said, you know what, with my team, we have to do a whole revamp on our branding. And guess what? Let's make it simple. So instead of Qanat Al Qasba, let's call it Al Qasba. And then we changed the whole design from Al Qasba, from a cultural to a slogan, be part of it. So be part of whatever is happening in Al Qasba, whether it's musical events or cultural events or clowns or any of those events, jugglers around Al Qasba, be part of those celebrations. So we used to, within our philosophy, we used to celebrate anything happening around the world. So Halloween, Diwali, Indian festival, Venice festival, Iranian festival, Chinese festival,
all of it.
Whatever happens, you need traffic.
Yes.
With traffic, you make business. With business growing, you get more new tenants. And that was the strategy. Then what happened? His Highness said to us, you were so fantastic with your plans, and the message was to Sheikh Abdul and her team. You were so good. Why don't we do something bigger than just Al Qasba?
Because then now Al Qasba had become a success.
After 3 years, 2006, 2009, Al Qasba is the popular destination. All of the TV channels. For me at that time, the vision was, when we used to remember Sharjah, we used to remember the Central Souk, which is known as the Blue Souk. My idea was, the new blue souk of Sharjah is going to be Al Qasba, and that was the inspiration, you know. And we happened to reach that, you know, to the level that the Eye of the Emirates, now it is somewhere else.
Yes.
But the Emirates was the icon of Sharjah. That is the new icon of Sharjah with the Al Qasba. Mission accomplished. Let's do something different. So we had the opportunity and the blessing from His Highness to create the Sharjah Investment and Development Authority. And when we had this decree, His Highness wanted something to be simpler. So yes, you have a big name, Sharjah Investment. Let's use something that is a brand, strong brand that will live forever. So we came up with this idea of creating a name, Shurooq, which is sunrise, but is also a derivative of Sharjah name. And the mandate was attracting investments to Sharjah, developing projects in Sharjah, creating a social, economical impact to Sharjah, transforming the way of how Sharjah is, whether it's marketing, whether it's messaging, whether it's events, whether it's developments, whether it's attracting investors from abroad. And I guess after 10 years.
And this goes with your first project being Al Qasba.
Al Qasba created Shurooq. Shurooq then went into creating multiple projects.
And then your project now became the Emirate of Sharjah.
The Emirate of Sharjah. So from Shurooq, we went, I like to take challenges. So
yes. Oh, I got that, yes.
In many areas in Sharjah, there is a no. You can't do changes. You can't do a lot of things. And we came up with this idea. I was driving in one of those days in Sharjah, and we always had that fountain in Sharjah. It was always the icon of Sharjah. It was like the third largest fountain in the whole world after just Geneva and Jeddah. But it's not working. So I spoke to the municipality, guys, what's wrong with our fountain? They said, no, there is maintenance and it's so expensive and we're not sure if we can repair it. Then I spoke to Sheikh Abdulrahman. I said, our icon.
We have a fountain and it's not working.
It's not working for the past 2 years. Why don't we revive it? She said, okay, let me get the approval. Because, it's different territory. It's municipality. It's not us. Shurooq, yes, a developer, but that falls under municipality. So the big boss, His Highness, said, go ahead. If they're not going to do anything about it, it's yours. So I met a couple of companies. I told them, you know what, guys, I need you to come up with a new fountain. My idea was a new fountain. So the guys gave us option 1, just replacing the fountain, or option 2, replacing the fountain enhancement, or replacing the fountain with a musical fountain. Adding to that geyser, we're just replacing the geyser, but also putting a musical fountain, 150 meters, light shows, water screens, laser shows. Are you sure? It's so expensive. But don't worry, we're going to get the approval. We're going to check with His Highness if he likes the idea. So we went to His Highness. We said, His Highness, Your Highness, we have option 1, option 2, option 3. He said, option 1 wouldn't do much. What do you think of option 3? And we were like, this is the last thing we would expect is that he would approve the best option, which is option. His Highness had a vision. He likes to transform. He likes to make the best for Sharjah.
Yes.
He did this magnificent university city. He did this whole revamp.
Yes.
The whole planning of Sharjah is His Highness's vision to create this modern Islamic Arabic city, creating world-class standards, I would say. And when you see the history of Sharjah, you would know that His Highness would actually choose option 3. And he said, but with option 3, we need to create a destination out of it. Khalid Lagoon is a nice place, but it lacks a lot of things. So we came up with this idea of transforming this road that used to drive in front of the lagoon to trying to drive within the park that was there. That used to be called Al Majaz Park. Going through the park and going to the other side and adding like 8 different buildings where you have restaurants and creating a destination. The first time we met His Highness, I think we almost lost our jobs. We took that extreme level of change, and His Highness said, I think, guys, you're not that busy and you're coming up with those crazy ideas.
You're spending too much time being creative.
Exactly, and because you're going through the park. And then after by the time I left His Highness Palace, I reached my office. I was called back to come back the second day to explain it again. Because His Highness saw what we saw.
Yes.
And he said, you know what? I like your idea. And it was supposed to be the third project down our line. This is your priority. Let's do this. Let's transform the Khalid Lagoon. It has not been transformed in the past. Let's revive it totally. And we created this dining destination. So Al Qasba is the cultural, Al Majaz is dining destination. Restaurants, Fridays was one of the tenants. First time coming to Sharjah. Caribou Coffee, Zahar Laymoon, Tim Hortons, at that time Fat Burger. And now we have Sutish from Turkey, Pizzaro. New restaurants to Sharjah, a very nice dining destination.
You completely changed it.
And this musical fountain, huge fountain with water screens, with a story that talks about the history of Sharjah on that water screen.
Yes, that's right.
So from one challenge to the heart of Sharjah, creating this heart of Sharjah, reviving the past with museums, coffee shops, with Al Bayt Hotel, the most exotic, luxurious Emirati hotel that anyone would want to experience the past would stay there, to going all the way to the Noor Island with creating a butterfly park with one of the most talented artists called Andre Hiller, and creating a cactus garden, a butterfly garden with the blooming dales, and then moving from there all the way going to the Al Muntaza and reviving Al Muntaza, which is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year, by creating this water park, which is the first water park in Sharjah, and transforming the Eye of the Emirates from Al Qasba to Al Muntaza Park, and then on the opposite side building the 7th largest flagpole in the world, which goes up to 123 meters, and putting a Jones the Grocer. And then not only thinking about Sharjah city, but going all the way to the east coast, creating an ecotourism plan for Kalba, and reviving that place that is known for its mangroves. But the Kingfisher bird was that special thing.
Yes.
Opening a lodge that's called the Kingfisher Lodge, and part of that creating a Birds of Prey Center, and then the Arabian Wildlife Center, and then after that coming to the central part of Sharjah where you have the desert and the mountains, discovering that we have the history that goes back to the Paleolithic age, and I'm talking about 130,000 years before present.
Wow.
And that was coincident. I was passing by that area, and I met a guy, and he said to me, we have history here. What sort of history, What sort of history are you talking? I said, we have Paleolithic age, Neolithic age. What's Paleolithic? What Neolithic? And no, we have all the way to those ages. And he showed me all of those graveyards, and a whole graveyard that is only for camels, and another one only for horses, and another one that talks about the pre-Islamic age. Pre-Islamic age, yes, pre-Islamic age. Guys, what we need to do, we need to talk about archaeological tourism. So we created the Mleha archaeological tourism, and now you go to Mleha, you have archaeological tours, then you have a sunset tour, then you have the horse riding, then you have stargazing, then you can do an overnight stay there.
Wow.
It's magnificent. It's like you go to the Death Valley, the same thing, you'd find it actually there in Mleha. It's only 45 minutes from Al Qasba. Imagine how fascinating that site is. And then going to Al Bidar to create that oasis with 31 rooms, and coming back to Sharjah with this magnificent project we created within Sharjah Emirate, many different destinations. So in one of those areas, we were driving around the desert, and we found those two buildings. What about those two buildings? They're like having a fence around them. It's like, don't come close to those sites. We checked about it. It's nothing. There is a fuel pump station built in the 64 timing, when people used to drive from Sharjah to Oman.
Yes.
They stop their car, add some fuel, continue. There is a small clinic, a shop, grocery, and a fuel pump station. So our ID, I know I travel a lot. I love to take IDs. So I was in South Africa, where I found those little touristic areas where you would actually stay in a motel or a lodge, 5 rooms, 7 rooms. So 5 rooms? Yes, 5 rooms. We're going to create a 5 rooms lodge called Al Faya Lodge in the middle of the desert. And we're going to create a coffee shop. So
nice.
for people that would like to experience being in the desert, but in a historic building, you would actually stay in that used to be clinic.
Yeah.
And with a sea salt spa and a pool in the desert. Imagine, it's your own pool in the desert. Nothing is around you. Mountains and desert only. And I think what we like to do in Shurooq is to create every project that has something that's totally different. So tourism was something I love to do, but Shurooq is not about tourism. So then we went all the way, signing an agreement with Eagle Hills, developing the Maryam Island project, which is a mixed-use development, more than 4.7 billion dirham of investment. Then going all the way to sign an agreement with a developer called Diamond Developers, creating a project called the Sharjah Sustainable City, more than 1,000 townhouse with a school, with hydroponic farms, all the way creating a sustainable city with autonomous vehicles. As we're speaking, we're developing it.
And it'll be the first smart city, right? The
Exactly.
first smart green city, solar powered.
Totally clean city. We would like to create a place where people would love to grow their plants, would love to jog in that area, would take their kids through an autonomous vehicle to the school without even being in the streets, having a small community area next to them, like a shopping experience. So the challenge is, let's not replicate things. Let's do what fits Sharjah, creating new joint ventures with our partners. So I went all the way to recycling water waste. So we took this agreement with a joint venture with a Belgian company.
Yes.
And we went into the field of water waste, like STP plants, and had nothing to do with STP. Read about it, so thought it's exciting project to jump into it. Took the challenge, got to actually take over this plant from the government entity, creating a joint venture with the private sector. Now, doubling the capacity of that water treated, and then creating an RO plant which is reusable of water to the level that this water that's sewage water is going to be retreated to be used as an industrial water and for farming. And imagine, one day we had an issue with water, today we have excess of water because of what technology can do for us. So the nice thing, it's from one challenge. Then one of those days I got a challenge that we need to get Uber or Kareem to Sharjah. You know, Sharjah is a cosmopolitan city. We ended up creating a company called Emirates. We did a joint venture with Emirates Transportation. We signed an agreement. We created a company called Sharjah Transportation Solutions, which basically has all of the Kareem cars now in Sharjah is under Shurooq. The nice thing is that in every sector we think that there is a possibility for us to venture into. We will venture into, to the level that I went all the way to Korea to sign with an investor in Korea to come up with a cardiovascular treatment center. So every field you feel that there is a need for it, study it, investigate it, look at what will fit you, and just go for it.
What amazes me is the fact that in most fields, companies, government agencies, CEOs of groups, they stick to what they're good at. They're like, okay, we're focused on real estate or tourism. This is our expertise. Let's stick to it.
Yes.
You, on the other hand, you don't even see a box.
Yeah, the nice thing is that Shurooq is an investment and development authority. So investment in everything, development in everything. And that's the thing, that if you have the mindset that you can succeed in every field, but you need to prepare yourself, you need to educate yourself, you need to train yourself, you need to be ready for that, and you need to focus at that sector.
Yes.
So when we said healthcare, we said, let's do a full study about healthcare industry in Sharjah. And then we took this study that said, well, in healthcare, cardio is an issue, cancer treatment is an issue, obesity is an issue, lifestyle is an issue. Focus on those. Don't focus on everything. Healthcare is so big. So we focus on getting those, and we managed to get a couple of them. We couldn't manage to get all of them, but our focus was to get a cardiovascular center, to get a lifestyle disease center, a rehab center. And when you talk and be expert in that field,
yes,
you will always win.
Absolutely.
You can't lose. And I think today we speak about technology. Today we speak about disruption of technologies. And guess what? The company that is competing with you today doesn't exist.
Yes, exactly.
Nobody, Hilton or Marriott, never knew that Airbnb was there. They were shocked that someone came that has nothing to do with their industry,
yes,
is competing not with hotels, it's competing with stays. And stays can be defined anything.
Yes.
It's a room, it's a hotel, it's a lodge, it is a stay. A person would like to take a place to sleep.
Absolutely.
So your challenge might be coming from anywhere. So the Blockbuster never knew that Netflix was created.
Exactly.
And even when they were competing, they said they're a different industry. But at the end, today mobility, car companies are not competing with Uber. They're competing with autonomous vehicles in the future, with something that will take you from A to B. So you're not selling a brand, you're selling that activity.
Yes.
And that's what we need to think about. Today, and like always, you need to always make yourself open to teach yourself that whatever you know is outdated.
Yes.
You have to come up with new things. And for that, we went into mobility, we went to healthcare, we went to real estate, we went into sustainability. We created even a sustainability company that will do retrofitting, because we knew that today with sustainability, everybody's going to go to be more sustainable. Everybody's going to want to be more greener, I would say. Everybody wants to do a better way of image at the beginning, but also cost. Nobody wants to overspend on electricity and water as they used to. So if solar is cheaper than gas turbines, everybody's going to move to solar. And that mindset, if you build it within your organization, that's the success that you would say. And then I would say choosing the right people within your organization is the start to success. If you happen to know who are you hiring, what do they like, what do they dislike, and going back to my experience with Mr. Hussein Luta is an important thing. If you get to know where do they spend their free time, do they have clubbing time, or do they spend it reading, do they like traveling, or do they like sleeping on the bed, you would know what sort of a person that you're working with. And choosing the right people is another key to success. And every time measuring success. You cannot succeed if you can't measure anything. You can say I'm successful, but how successful? Are you financially successful? What is the measurements that you would actually set? And my message to every person is that every one of us is today seeking to become a CEO or a managing director or a chairman. But today you're a chairman of yourself. Put a plan for yourself. If you want to educate yourself, don't think that education has a limit. Education has no limit. I, as a chairman or executive chairman in Shurooq, I just recently came from University of Singularity. 2 years ago, I was in Harvard. 4 years ago, I was also in Harvard. I'm reading books. I'm traveling, getting to know people, because every time you open up to different industry, to different challenges, your brain just explodes, gets to admire. I just came back from Palo Alto. And before that, I knew Fourth Industrial Revolution. I knew about AI. I knew about VR. I don't know about the impact on it, on our life. And you can see it either as a threat or as so excitement about how is the future going to look like. Imagine, I came back from there. I was actually having dreams about this exponential growth, about how AI is going to impact us. Just imagine leaving my office here. My phone would dictate that I'm standing out. A car would come, pick me up, take me to my home. It will inform my wife that I am delayed in the traffic because I had an interview that took more time than expected. She's going to be prepared that she's delayed for another half an hour. She would be prepared that her Uber is going to be booked after I arrive. We pick the car there. It takes us to the restaurant. The restaurant will be notified that I'm actually delayed because of the traffic that was actually, and also the interview that happened. It will reach to the restaurant. The restaurant would know that I have a certain diet. It will pre-order the food that we have actually went there. It will then order the car back again.
Wow.
What sort of an experience? My secretary will know that I had a late night, so tomorrow don't book a meeting at 8 in the morning. Make it 9 because he might come late because he has that's the future.
Yes, and most people are scared of it.
And how amazing the future. The future might be different. The future might be that we don't need staff that will do repetitive work. This is repetitive work. Computers will do work much better than us. And if they would do repetitive, then we were going to do something that has to do with something else other than repetitive work, which is design, inspiration, experience, events. Robots would not do it for us. A robot would not sing better than a human being. Wouldn't do something that is different. And I think if we think about how the future is exciting, when I was in Palo Alto, we saw this barista that is a robot. You go to this barista and he's a robot. You go to an Amazon store, and because you have a face detection, it detects your face. It knows that Marwan has a credit card connected to his. You pick up a Red Bull. You leave by there. You don't meet anyone. You don't talk to anyone. It's deducted from your bank account automatically. You leave there. You go to a burger place, and that burger place, I have the name. I just can't recall it.
They know what you want.
They know what you want. They know
pickles.
that you're exactly no pickles, extra patty, for example. The robot makes your burger. It's ready by the time you are actually there. You pick it up and you leave, and the car is waiting for you with a Lyft or Uber, and will take you all the way to your hotel. The future is exciting. It's definitely exciting. So nice, And guess what? You have a delivery that reaches you through a drone system.
Yes.
Much faster, and you hear those amazing experience. Like blood today is moved in Uganda through those drones. They never had this thing that they can actually get blood at the right time within 15 minutes of ordering it.
Wow.
They have the 16th most busiest airport that is only using drones. In Uganda, and imagine they solved the problem, humanitarian problem. Everybody's happy. The people are happy. The patients are definitely happy. The hospital is happy. The guy that is selling the drones are happy.
16th busiest airport, and it's all drones.
And it's going to be the 6th in the coming years.
Wow.
Just after Atlanta, Dubai, Singapore, London, France, and then it will be Uganda. Very soon. And they're not moving people. They're only moving blood. So technology is fascinating. We need to talk to our governments also to open up. Let's create excitement. let's accept technologies. We heard recently that Tesla had an accident, a lady was hit by an autonomous vehicle. Well, guess what? As you reported that, there are more people that were killed through road accident by human beings.
Yes, that's true.
Why do we blame an autonomous vehicle? You know, the last time a man intervened with an autonomous vehicle, the autonomous vehicle traveled for 120,000 kilometers without an intervention.
That's a lot.
You know why? Because of machine learning. This Tesla tells the other Tesla, tells the other Tesla, tells the other Tesla about new things. If you traveled around and found an accident, you will call, you say, Marwan, there is an accident, avoid that street. How many people you can call?
That's right.
That's a machine. It tells everybody in the system, avoid, everybody avoids, you know? And it will tell you everything. And that's what we need to say. The future is exciting. The future is promising.
Get inspired. Imagine if you could present yourself, your thoughts, and your ideas with clarity and confidence. Imagine if you could speak to influence and impact. Imagine if you could communicate like a commanding and charismatic leader. Well, you can, given the right information and the investment of effort from your end. How do I know that? As a public speaking coach, I work with CEOs, world leaders, and presidents. And when they hire me, they expect nothing short of results. And over the years, it's been 2 decades now, 2 challenges have risen for me being unable to help the majority of people. I'm usually on a plane, with the majority of my time being booked a good year or 2 in advance. And my one-on-one session to work with someone in person generally starts at $20,000. So we solved the problem by making my public speaking course available for you online. Everything that I teach my clients when I'm working one-on-one, thoughts, tips, strategies, how to do things, all on video, all sequenced in the right order for you to be able to watch, rewatch, practice, and refine your presentation, your speaking, and your overall communication skills. And guess what? You will get results. Now, you can have this course not for the $20,000 that my clients pay me when we work one-on-one. You can have it for $997. That's right, just $997. You might be thinking, well, why are you offering something that you charge $20,000 for $997? It's simple, because those who want to work with me one-on-one will still hire me. But for many whom I might be out of their budget, this is a great way to develop their communication skills, to cut through the noise, to rise above the rest, and to beat their competition. If you're serious about wanting to develop your skills, to be able to present your thoughts, your ideas, and yourself with clarity and confidence, to be able to speak, to influence and impact, and to communicate like a confident and charismatic leader, then this course is for you. Go on to kevinabdulrahman.org/course and get started today.
We need to create a platform, and I think Sharjah is also in the forefront. We created this research and technology and innovation park where we're opening it up for innovation. So this place is managed by the honorary chairman is His Highness, the Dr. Sheikh Sultan. He created, 20 years ago, the university campus with like 47,000 students studying there. Today it's the next era, which is research, technology, innovation. And he created this park where, if you go now there, you'd find a 3D printed building is under construction. And you would find an autonomous vehicle driving there, fully autonomous. So it's like you sit in a majlis. So there isn't a driver. So it's like, they call it generation 5 of autonomy. So no steering wheel.
Yes.
So you sit there in a lounge.
Just sitting there, yeah.
Sitting, it will take you from one place to another place. And then there is this hydroponic farms. And then you go to another place, you'll have those skyway trains that will take you from one place to another place. But how amazing is the future? How amazing if you can actually order a shoes, not order it. Why do you need to order it? You can print it. And you know what? You can print body parts.
Yes.
And this is how technology is. And I think for us in Shurooq, I always like to put the bar higher. And I remember, as I said, automotive was one of the industry that I'm passionate about. I was reading an article about Hyundai. And in Hyundai at that time, they were building the Sonata. So they're coming up with the Sonata. and they said our focus is to compete with the Honda Accord and the Camry, but we want to benchmark Mercedes. Guys, benchmark Mercedes? They said, yeah, if we failed, we're going to be an Accord or a Camry. But aim high.
Yes.
Always aim higher than what you want to achieve, and you're getting it. And I was talking to my wife just recently, and I was telling her, how important is health and well-being, going to the gym every day. And she said, no, I think for me 3 days are enough. I said, no, I think aim high. For 5 days, you'll do 3 days. Aim higher.
Yes.
You will achieve what you want to achieve, but keep that in mind that you want to aim on the higher. My aim, for example, is to go every day to the gym. So if I don't go to the gym one of those days, I feel sorry. So I have to do it on the other day. And it had a major impact on my lifestyle. And I said, when you're a CEO of yourself or a chairman of yourself, how you look is important.
Mm-hmm.
How you speak is important.
Yes.
Your education level is important. Your well-being is important.
Yes.
You want to live longer. You don't want to be an issue for your kids when you're in your 60s. You want to still play golf when you're 60.
Yes.
You want to still drive racing cars when you're 70. There is no limit. You go to some areas and you find a guy enjoying his time in a convertible classic.
Yes.
He's enjoying his time. He had a good time when he was in a younger stage. You can't say I will wait for tomorrow to go to the gym. Go to the gym today. And I started doing it after Fajr prayer. So Fajr today it's like ends at 5:30 in the morning. At 6 I'm in the gym.
I was
1
going
hour
to,
and a half.
Yeah, I was going to ask you because, especially someone like yourself, you have a family.
Yeah.
You're running such a large organization. You're traveling. I was going to ask you, how is it that you actually fit in working out?
I have in my WhatsApp. I have you can put a slogan. I say, life is short, stay awake. And I was like, there is no time for you to rest. There is a lot of time for you to rest when you rest. When you rest, you rest. That's the time when there is no time for you to rest. Recently in the world, you have to sleep well. You have to eat well. You have to go to the gym. You have to work hard. You have to really work hard.
You make it a priority.
And you need to enjoy your hobbies. Make a hobby. Enjoy it. If you are into football, play football. If you like cinemas, go to but don't overdo it. Play football once or twice a week. Go to the gym every day. Eat well. Enjoy your time. Go with your friends. So divide your days. Divide your time by, you have 5 things that you need to divide your time. Time for yourself, which is your gym, your lifestyle. Time for your wife, if you're married. Time for your family. Time for work, and time for education. And people would say education is for your own, for your own self. For your family, it's your family together. For your wife, you need to keep some time for your wife, because people say family and wife is no, it's not the same. And time for your friends. Friends are different from yourself. When you're in the gym, you're alone. You're whether meditating, or it's your time. Time for your friends is when you hang out on a weekend with your friends. If you prepare yourself and see what is the percentage of time for work and time for a family and time for your wife, and you write it down, you'll find that maybe you're overspending it with work, overspending it with your wife, or less spending it with you need to increase the time. Create a balance.
Do you feel that we've become lazier as a...
Lazier? No, I think people have different priorities.
Yeah.
That's why they fail.
Yeah.
They want to be successful, but they want to sit in a coffee shop, they want to dine out, they want to spend money.
They want all the good things.
So they want to build a house for themselves, but they want to spend money traveling twice to Europe. Then they want to buy a new car every 3 years. They want to buy a new watch every year. And they want to save. And they want to open their own company. But you can't do everything.
Yes.
You have that limited salary, for example. And so when you have priorities, when you have in mind that you want to be successful in that thing, you can't be only successful in that thing. You can't be successful in everything.
Yes.
One of the most important things is people get distracted.
Yes.
With a lot of things that are happening, whether it's new technology, whether it's issues with financial issues. Keep focused on what you do. This is the most important thing. I was recently flying from Emirates, checking on Maradona movie.
Yes.
Talking about Maradona now. And what did he do? It's all about determination, focus, what you want to achieve. And you're not going to succeed in the first year. But that's being so focused on what you want to do and improving, and knowing that SWOT analysis about yourself, working on your strength, working on overcoming all of the weaknesses. What are the threats that you're going to achieve? You're going to achieve, then you're going to basically reach there. And it's share your success with your peers. You know, some of the issues with you would not keep your wife. No, get her involved. Let her be the inspiration that you have you want to achieve. Let her be part of it. So when you succeed, she celebrates it. Don't try to be alone in those things. Keep some time for your families. You know, I had one of those 12 messages I wrote, that sit with the old people, listen from them. Sit with your father and your mother, listen to them, appreciate their time. Give some time for your kids, enjoy your hobbies. Try to keep for every year a milestone that you want to achieve, because as I said before, if you can't measure it, you don't know if you achieved it. So if you don't know where you are and where you want to reach within the 7 years, then you're never going to. Don't be distracted. Enjoy your time, as I said, but the very important thing is also be what you call it, not feel only the empathy, but the compassion with others. You know, when you say anything, think about it before saying it to anyone, because you don't know how they will react it. And live the story of everyone, whoever is with you. You know, before don't judge anyone from the first time. You would have different stories if you be more considerate about what do they have. The most important people are the people that are around you. They are the people that are going to make you happy, or they're going to make your life terrible. You don't want to have negative people around you. And I think if you have negative people around you, just get rid of them. Even if they're the best employees you have, even if they're the best people you have within your organization, if they are creating negativity only puts you down. Get people that will give you true facts. If Marwan went on a stage and said something and they felt that it is not appropriate, let them have the guts to go to you.
The guts to say it, but not be negative.
Yes, and in leadership, you need to be vulnerable.
Yes.
And if you don't have vulnerability, then people will think, oh, I can't talk to Marwan, he would hammer us. Who are we to tell him? But if you create that vulnerability, that they are telling you for the better of you, and then you have to create that comfort zone. They can talk to you about it, because they're saying it because they care about you. And within that 7 years, you're going to achieve it. You're going to achieve it because you know that there are many things that you've done that will make it a successful journey for you. But not every journey is the successful journey from the first day. But you need to be confident that you have the right amount of fuel in your car. You have the right directions. You have the right car that will take you to the journey, and you're going to reach it. You can't go with a Formula 1 car from Sharjah to Abu Dhabi and come back. You need pit stops.
Yes.
So you'll not use a Formula 1 car. You might use a Nissan petrol, for example. You know, so you need to use your right tools. You need to use the right people that are around you. And sometimes, if you want to judge, don't judge from one part of a story. Read the whole story from different angles. This is my simple messages that we would like people to, and I'm sure many of them would actually practice it.
Man, that's fantastic. That's really good.
I had this philosophy of the 7-year philosophy.
Yes.
If you work hard, dedicate your efforts in whatever job you do for 7 years, you're going to achieve what you have aimed for. And I had it in many places. My philosophy was, don't work more than 4 years in the same department. It's so boring. How do you do the same thing for 4 years?
It's just so comfortable.
It's like doing the same thing, unless you're racing, you know. But if you're doing the same thing, how are you advancing yourself? You know, we're human beings. We're not born as accountants or lawyers. We're born as human beings, so we can be good in anything. But we need to train ourselves. We need to educate ourselves. So if you're bored about the place you're working in, just move, change, do something different. Travel around the globe. Experience different cultures, learn about history. History is amazing. Read books, but don't read books about business only. Books about history, art, culture, automotive, design, you know.
Things that you're passionate about.
Everything is going to inspire you. And I think, you know, I love this automotive industry. And I was explaining one day the perfection on one of those cars. And I got a call from one guy and said to me, you know, I used to drive those cars, But the way how you explained it about the craftsmanship and the quality and the matching of the wood and the leather and the weaving of the leather and the painting job made me fall in love with the car that I had 4 years ago. And it's, if you have stories, if you tell people about how exceptional those things are, people appreciate it more. If I tell you that this watch took 7,000 hours of, or 700 hours of work, of craftsmanship, you would appreciate it more. Yes, it will give you time like any other watch, but the craftsman, the quality, the time, that the effort that they have put to perfect it is the value that you pay for.
Get inspired. You know this by now, that we are the #1 YouTube show / podcast that's coming out of the Middle East from Dubai. If you like the idea of having your brand reach at least 1 million eyeballs per episode, then feel free to reach out to my office on kevinabdulrahman.org. Without further delay, let's continue this great conversation. What would you say is a car that's symbolic, that is you, the car version of Marwan?
Oh, it's a 911.
It is a 911?
So I love cars. I love cars that has history, that has passion, that has commitment, and that's durable.
Yes.
And for me, the 911 is one of the best cars. It's a sports car that you can take to the gym, take to the track, come to the office, enjoy it on a weekend, enjoying it to the office. So it's an icon that never changes.
Yes.
It's that shape that was done by
911.
Frederick Bohr. It's the 911. It's the most amazing car. So I have different versions from an 89 all the way to the 2018. But I also love the G-Wagons. They're robust. They're family cars. They're military cars. They're robust. The shape is authentic, original. And not because it's driven by celebrities, but it's my character.
Yes.
The Defenders, the real Defenders, are cars that I respect. I respect cars that would stay for like 60 years with that real shape. Now with the new shape, it's a different story. But I always like cars with history. I also like to know the people behind it. So now I'm going to get a Dallara. A Dallara is a company Dallara is a company that had history with racing, but they recently started the first car, and I met Gianpaolo Dallara. He's the guy that's behind the Lamborghini Miura, one of the most beautiful cars that was built in the 70s. So he was behind it, and when I happened to meet him and heard his passion about cars and the racing and all of those Formula GP2s, Formula 3, Formula 2s, was engineered by Dallara till today.
Wow.
And now they're doing a road car. How come I can't have one? I will have to have one. And the passion about cars is more than just taking it from A to B. It's more than that. You feel them. They feel when you're not driving them. I also love the new technology. So I drive a Tesla. So beautiful with the Tesla. When you jump in the car, your calendar is there.
It's an experience.
It will tell you everything. It will be ready before you come down. It will have the AC on. If you are tight in the parking, you can summon it, so it goes up front and back. It's good with technology. I don't have to wait to fill my car. I just plug it in wherever I am. And all of Shurooq projects have a plugging system to charge my car. So I am with technology. I jumped into Twitter like when it first started. I jumped into Facebook when it first started, Instagram, all of the new technology. I love new technology, and it talks about my personality.
Yes.
When you are first adapters or enablers.
Yes. But it's so obvious, and you're bold. The uncertainty or the unknown in any aspect.
Yeah.
If most people are hesitant, you're definitely not one of them.
I will
You're like
go
first
for it.
step in.
I'll go for it. And I might like it, I might dislike it. So I jumped into LinkedIn several years ago. I didn't really like it. I didn't find the interaction. I was very popular on Twitter. Then I reached the level I felt that LinkedIn is really good for me. So I started pushing a lot on LinkedIn, and I'm loving it. And I manage my own accounts.
Yes.
So I have like 40,000 followers on LinkedIn, on Twitter. I have the limit in Facebook. In LinkedIn, I reach views, almost 150,000 views. But I'm authentic.
It's you.
I'm the one who's writing it. It might have some mistakes, but it's fine. We're human beings.
Absolutely.
The only perfect thing is Allah. He's the perfect thing.
That's right.
But everyone else seeks perfection, but they're not perfect. And that's us. That's human beings. It's fine to fail. It's fine to lose. It's fine to not be successful. but in your mind, you want to be successful, and you'll do whatever it takes to be successful.
And so for the guys who are watching, or the individuals who are listening to this as they're driving or stuck in traffic, if they want to follow you, where would be the best platform to follow you on?
So if you want to know who Marwan is, it's Marwan Al Sarkal on Instagram.
Mhm.
That's my lifestyle.
Yes.
You'd find where I travel, what do I do,
And you travel a lot.
and I travel a lot. and I think, I travel a lot. I love traveling, and people tell me, how come you travel a lot and you're still fine with it? I said, if you enjoy what you do, whatever you do, you will love it.
Yes.
And I think if you think, oh, it's so bad traveling from one airport to another airport, from one hotel. Sometimes I even forget the hotel, which room I'm
Yes.
in, because of how many times I moved in that event, in that trip. So the other thing, Twitter is a strong platform. If you're into business, LinkedIn, it's also Marwan Al Sarkal through LinkedIn. And I think I'm so close. I'm so open. You'd find my mobile number on my business cards.
Yes.
And I when I say it's about openness, it's about integrity, it's about, and you have to walk the walk.
You really live it. It's really obvious that you really live it. What would you say was the advice that from all the books that you've read, or perhaps the interactions you've had with individuals, what would be an advice that you say has served you well in life?
Well, many things actually. One of the things is trying to be authentic as much as possible. Saves you a lot.
Yes.
And trying to fake things will not make you succeed in anything. Learning your weaknesses and working on your weaknesses is key. Leadership is not about making people happy. Leadership is about telling them that they're wrong and that this is the right way. And to a lot of leaders that fail, this is one of the books that I've loved reading, is that a lot of people think that leadership is a job. Leadership is a practice. You practice leadership.
Yes.
You practice leadership maybe in office, but at home someone else practice leadership against you. When you go with your friends, someone else practice leadership. And so the definition from leadership was about disappointing people to the amount that they can accept to achieve your goal.
Interesting.
How magnificent is that? Disappointing people to the certain level to achieve your goal.
Interesting.
If I want, and that's exactly what's leadership about. Because when you think about making people happy, creating a work environment, that's not leadership. But that's many things to. But leadership is someone is doing something wrong. You can't not tell him that you're doing the wrong thing. And will that disappoint them? Yes, but to the amount that they can absorb to achieve your goal. And we go back, when you think about if you have a good instructor one day, and I remember, I was playing football with my school team. We won like many awards, and I still today play football with my peers here in Shurooq. And it's a creative way of interacting with them in a different level.
Yes.
So and we used to sit with our coach, and he was telling us, "You're doing it in the wrong way. Do it that way." He's not doing it because he wants to show us that you are bad. He wants to tell us that you can do it better if you do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
You have to pass. You have to look at that. You have to have a back eye. He's not telling us because we're bad. He's telling us to be better. And
he sees the potential in you.
And that's leadership. And a lot of people fail in leadership because they think leadership is a job. It's not a job, it's a practice. Because if it's a job, then it takes a lot of effort in yourself. You can't be a leader at home. Your little daughter is a leader. She will tell you, today, Baba, we'll go to Al Muntaza Park. We want to go to the water park. You have to accept it because you want to make her happy. So she is the leader at that time. You go back you're out from the water park. Your wife said to you, let's go to Jones the grocer on Flag Island. And you think, I had in mind, I want to go to that Zahar Laymoon and Al Majaz. But she practiced, she said, no, I want to go there. I liked it because their food is better. She wins that. It's a winning thing, She wins that. She practiced leadership. You come back to the work, here you say, you're giving a meeting, you're taking decisions, you're practicing leadership. And it's a floating thing.
Yes.
If you say, I'm going to choose which restaurant, I'm going to choose where we're going today, I'm going to choose the country we're going to visit in our traveling, it's too much pressure. A man can't take that much pressure. And so this is one of the lessons I learned from the books I've read. And the other thing is the Toyota culture.
Yes.
Celebrate success with everyone.
Yes.
Don't say the employee of the year. Say the team of the year.
Yes.
If you celebrate one person is part of that.
Yes.
The other lesson I've learned, coordinate less, collaborate more.
Nice one.
So you coordinate a lot with coordination.
Nice.
Coordination is a lot of waste of time. Let's collaborate. You do your job, I do my job, he's doing his job. Like factories. In factories, nobody coordinates. I build the car, You put the engine, I do the interior, guy will put the tires. We don't coordinate, we collaborate.
Yes, that's
when
true.
you collaborate, you succeed. When you coordinate, you waste a lot of time. People don't like to work with others. Don't go with the studies. I like to work with working groups.
That's exactly what they say.
There's all they BS us. You know, the real thing, they like to do what they like to do. They don't like to do work alone. So if they can collaborate, they succeed in collaborating. They succeed to get better results. The future is robots are going to help us. I was checking, you know, those jigsaw puzzle, and the fastest guy can do it in, I believe, less than a minute.
The Rubik's Cube. Yes.
And recently, the fastest robot did it in 0.25 seconds.
0.25
seconds.
Oh,
done. Don't compete with robots. They have the machine learning.
We better collaborate with them.
We need to collaborate.
Yes.
We give them the hard job, the heavy stuff. They do it. We do the imagination. They don't have imagination.
Yes.
We have imagination. They will do our job. We will have less working hours in the future. We might work 4 hours. We might come after Fajr prayer, work from 7, at 11 we're done.
Be more efficient, more effective.
You know, I was checking this hotel in America that they have robots that will clean the toilets.
Oh,
Why do you need? And I was talking to the guy and he said, you know what? We don't have layovers. We don't have to pay for extra time. They don't have public holidays. They don't have any issues with influenzas. Well, it's a robot, you know, it cleans and leaves. And it's much faster than anyone else.
That's fantastic.
So, you know, the future is the future. We need to be ready for it. We need to enlighten ourselves about what can we do and educate ourselves. There is no end of educating yourself. Meet new people. If you're going to travel alone.
Interesting.
Travel alone. You'll get to know a lot of people.
But it's so uncomfortable for a lot of people.
That's why. Yeah. Try to unteach yourself about what you know.
Oh, good one.
And you would meet people in the lounge.
Yes.
If you're with a colleague, you'll never talk to anyone.
You're right.
If you're with your colleague.
That's right.
You go to a course, you'll have to meet someone. You go to a restaurant. I know the first time I managed to teach myself how to eat with a chopstick, even though I was raised in Japan. We never ate with a chopstick. I was once in Switzerland, going to attend motor shows. I don't miss any motor show of the big shows. So I went and I had to go to a restaurant that I don't want to feel uncomfortable because I'm alone. So guess what? Go to a Japanese restaurant.
Sure.
You sit in a bar, you know, in front of the sushi chef. And they said to us, you know, we don't do sushis. No, we do sushis and we have katsu. And so I had to eat with a chopstick. Nobody's on right side, left side. So I had to teach myself how to eat with a chopstick. And today I am talented about it because I had the discomfort level that they didn't have actually. Fork and I was ashamed to ask them fork and knife, you know. So they had the chopsticks. Do you know them? Yes, I'll try.
I'll work it out.
Today I can pick M&Ms using a chopstick. So teach yourself to do things that you're totally uncomfortable with.
Man, that is fantastic. Can I ask you, because I know that you're a great leader both for your team and a lot of people who are related to you or not related to you, but your kids most certainly have learned so much from you, and no doubt you're an inspiration. But if Marwan can only leave or teach his kids one skill, one trait, or one way of thinking to help each one of your kids have the best life possible, and you can only do one thing to share with them, what would be that single most critical factor for their success in life?
To believe in themselves.
Mm.
The people fail when they believe that they can't succeed.
It's true.
And if you believe in yourself, seriously, I used to be playing in the football team in my school, and I thought, you know, I was wearing glasses. Now I have LASIK, so no issues. I thought that I can't play football because I'm wearing glasses, you know. And then today I'm one of the good players, I would say, because I believe that I can do it and I can overcome all of those obstacles. And I went to the level from an unwanted player to the player that represented the team in the school, to the level that we played the final match. We lost that final match, but at least we played the final match with all of the schools in Dubai at that time. Then it happened when I play with my peers here in Shurooq. I'm a very good player.
Yes.
And I remember just 20 years back or 25 years back, I was an unwanted player. To a wanted player, to be a captain in the team, to play in the center. I was a bit chubbier than now. I lost a lot of weight. I had focused a lot on myself and my well-being to make sure that if you stand in front of a mirror and you're proud of yourself, and if you're not proud of yourself, that's what you need to work on. Whether it's your shape, whether it's the way how you speak, you need to be proud about yourself.
Yes.
If you're not proud of yourself, what are you doing? What
Yes.
are you living? You only live one life. Make sure it's worth that.
That is so good. That is so good. Last question. In a world where we're so busy with everything, if you had the world's attention for 60 seconds, what would be your advice?
For 60 seconds, I think as human beings, we need to do something to the poor people. I feel ashamed about people not having food. And we're wasting food all around the globe. We have 3 times more food than we need in the whole world.
Wow.
We need only 20 billion to cover human poverty. It's so shameful for us as human beings to see someone in Africa walking for 3 kilometers to get clean water. It is bad for us to find people that are suffering because of war issues, not being accepted by other countries because they're not ready for them. So what I would say for everyone, put a dedication, build a mosque in some place, build a school in some place, provide shelter for someone, give the poor some food, and don't waste. Wasting is the worst curse that we would battle about. Water is something that's so important, but many people walk for miles to get clean water. So my message is, yes, let's make money, let's enjoy our time, but let's not forget those guys. You know, those people that are all around the globe, whether they're in Africa or in America or in India or in China. We need to serve. We need to think that we can, within our generation, we can get rid of poverty.
And we can.
We definitely can.
And
If we have the will, like we're talking about global impact, we have to talk about poverty, the first number one thing that we need to solve before anything else. Food, then water and shelter is key. Every human being has to dedicate at least $1 a day to save those people, and we're going to achieve it.
Oh man, that's beautiful. You're a person who I've really looked up to. I've known you for close to a decade now. This conversation I didn't know was possible, but I'm totally inspired, by what you're doing. And you're only 39. God bless you.
Thank you.
Which is fantastic. I'm looking forward to the next 10 years, which I'm showing there's going to be even greater things.
Thank you. I actually wouldn't have been in this position without being raised with those values.
Yes.
From my father, from my mother, I learn from everyone. I
Yes.
can't say how many people have impacted my life, but the most important people are my mother, my father, my wife, my brothers and sister, and whoever I pass through. Sheikh Abdur, definitely, His Highness Dr. Sheikh Sultan,
Yes.
all of my colleagues. Success can't happen by one person.
Yes.
Success happens by the whole people that are around him. People like you guys. We were always open to media, always open to share our
Yes.
knowledge, because we say knowledge cannot be kept as a secret. Knowledge is for everyone. Let's all celebrate success. Let's all celebrate success in a level that, if entities, want to do another replica of Shurooq, be our guest.
Yes.
We're not competing. We're doing a better thing for our economy, for our nation.
It's a compliment.
Exactly. So life is short.
Yes, it is.
Stay awake, enjoy life, enjoy every single minute, be proud about
Yes.
yourself, work on yourself, and guess what? Allah is always paying back. If you give Him all the best, He's going to take care of you.
100%. Yeah. And I love this. Move
Moving
forward.
forward,
That's
exactly.
fantastic. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
your time.
My
Such
pleasure.
a pleasure.
My pleasure.
Such a pleasure.
Thanks a lot.
Thank
Thank you for your time, and thank you all for being here. I never knew how this interview was going to look like, but I enjoyed the time here.
Thank you. I really
And I
appreciate
think
that.
many people, we need to inspire people.
Yes.
The future is promising. The future is amazing. As long as the sun is, as Mr. Jones said, as we end with him, as long as the sun is shining, keep smiling.
100%.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thanks
man.
a
I
lot.
really
My
appreciate it.
pleasure,
Thank you
my
for your
pleasure.
time.
My pleasure.
What an amazing guy. I know that if you watched this video, that you would be inspired. If you've been listening to this, you would be inspired. Please, what I can recommend is watch this video again or listen to the audio on the podcast again. Because I guarantee you, when I go over this video, I take summary notes and we make it available on the website. There is so much that I've taken in. There will be so much more that I will take in. Really just so much wisdom and so much inspiration. I'm going to place all the links to Marwan's socials below the video, so you can click on it. You can follow Marwan on his Instagram, on his LinkedIn. I'll also place it in the podcast notes. We're going to make the summary notes available. As you know, with these episodes, it's not about showing off. We hope that with every guest, we help you get inspired, get informed, and get going. And I know for sure that this episode would have done just that for you. I'm Kevin Abdulrahman. This is How Do They Do It?
Our referee was an Emirati referee
When they
won in one of those matches. So I was celebrating as an Emirati. My secretary, which is the Google of today, checked out.
Because it shows the diversity that you were exposed to from such a young age.
Yeah. Life is simple.
Life is simple.
Nice.
Yeah.